When I was growing up as a strength coach, one thing that pretty much everybody in our field believed was that you should avoid steady-state cardio if you want to optimize body composition. Of course, not everybody believed that. Those who were more in the bodybuilding circles, they didn't believe that. But for most of us who were influenced by Charles Poliquin, who is still my greatest influence to this day, we grew up believing that cardio was evil. It would just be something that would just jack up your cortisol level and would eat away your muscle mass. And we, of course, used the sprinter versus marathon runner analogy, which we visited in an earlier capsule. Now, here's the thing. It's mostly bullshit, okay? Cardio is not evil. I'm not saying that if you want to optimize body composition, doing 2 or 3 hours of endurance training is the way to go. It's not. It will lead to muscle loss. And it is a fact. It is a fact that concurrent at the same time, hypertrophy training and endurance training will lead to less muscle gain than hypertrophy training by itself. And here's the reason, okay? You have two modes that your body can be in, or two systems. The mTOR system, the AMPK system. Both are enzymes that increase the activity of some functions. Like the mTOR will speed up any cellular growth process, including muscle growth, including cell aging. Whereas the AMPK has the opposite effect. AMPK will speed up the release of fatty acids, will speed up the release of glycogen to be used for fuel, will also speed up something called autophagy. Autophagy is breaking down dead cells that are just lying around in your body, and you break them down to use for fuel. And also AMPK will shut down or greatly inhibit mTOR, thus reduce muscle growth. So of course, if you are doing a very high amount of cardio, you will increase AMPK. If I'm doing hypertrophy training, I'm increasing mTOR. This is why concurrent training can be detrimental, because if I do endurance training right after hypertrophy training, I might shut down the mTOR I worked hard to activate to increase muscle growth. So it is true that endurance training, if done at a high enough quantity right after a training session or afterwards in the same day, might decrease hypertrophy growth. But that doesn't mean that endurance training is something you should avoid if your goal is to be lean and muscular, because it has many benefits. Now, don't look at endurance training, not endurance training, because endurance training is like doing 2, 3, 4 hours of cardio a day fairly fast to be able to perform in an endurance event. I'm talking about like 30, 40 minutes of low intensity, steady state cardio to increase fat loss. Now, don't look at this type of training as a way to burn more calories, because you will be highly disappointed. The amount of calories being burned in a session of steady-state cardio is very, very, very low. It should not account for more than half a pound of fat loss per week, if that, all right? But it can help you lose more than that, because the main benefit of steady-state cardio is to increase your body's capacity to mobilize and use fat for fuel. It has been shown that steady-state cardio, even more so when done in a fasted state, believe it or not, will increase the enzymes responsible for mobilizing fat for fuel. And the thing is that most people, while they should be good at mobilizing fat because it should be our primary fuel source, most people suck at mobilizing their fat stores. They don't have the enzymes. They are better at using glycogen for fuel because of the way we are eating, chronic systemic inflammation, stuff like that. So by doing steady-state cardio, you can actually reprogram your body to become better at mobilizing stored fat. And then when you do an activity, a cardio activity that is higher in intensity, you will increase the mitochondrial, the little factories in your muscles that burn the fat. You will increase mitochondrial efficiency, like when you do interval training, for example. So if you do interval training without first being efficient at mobilizing fat for fuel, you are losing a large part of the benefit. So steady state cardio, if you do it right after a training session, it's not optimal. But again, if you do 20 minutes of cardio after your weight training session, it will have no negative impact. You need to train hard, like for 40, 60 minutes, fairly high pace to trigger enough AMPK to have a big negative impact on muscle growth. If you do 15, 20 minutes steady state, afterwards it won't be that bad. Ideally, you do cardio, steady state, either on its own day, like on off days, you do 40 minutes, or if you want to do it on a weight training day, you would do it earlier. Like you do fasted cardio in the morning, then 6 hours later you would do your weight training session. That will have no negative repercussion on the mTOR system. Now, that's the first thing. Then people will say, well, you know, steady state cardio will jack up your cortisol level, bro, and that will just eat away your muscle mass. Let's think about it this way, okay? What is the number one argument that people who claim that steady state cardio is not effective at losing fat? The first argument they will say is that, well, you're not even burning that much calories during steady state cardio. You are burning more calories when doing interval. That's the number one argument they're using. You're burning more calories when you do intervals. You know what is the purpose of cortisol when you're training? It's to mobilize stored energy. The more energy you burn, the more you need to mobilize. So if I'm using the argument that intervals burn more calories than steady state, but then I go out, I turn around and say, well, you know what? Steady state will jack up your cortisol. I'm full of shit. Because the more energy I burn, the more my cortisol will be released. So if I just claim that intervals burn more energy, then I should be intellectually honest and say that intervals also increase cortisol more than steady state. So it's not true that steady state will burn away your muscles, bro. Okay? You might feel flatter. Here's why. And that's true. After you've done like 30, 40 minutes of steady state cardio, your muscle feels smaller and flatter. That's not because I'm losing muscle, bro. It's because I actually deactivated my nervous system. My nervous system decreased in activation. It's more calm. And when my nervous system is more calm, my muscle tone is less. My muscles feel smaller, feel weaker, but it's not muscle loss. So, steady state cardio, it's not the devil. It's not like the be-all, end-all. You don't have to use it to get lean. I once did a bodybuilding contest and was shredded without doing a minute of cardio. Then I did my photo shoot in which I had probably my best condition ever, and I did 40 minutes of steady state cardio in the morning. You can get results either way. But it's not the devil. If you know how to use it, it serves a purpose. If you are working with a client who is overweight, obvious bad fat mobilizer, steady state cardio will be very helpful to help that person become better at mobilizing fat for fuel. So always keep an open mind. Don't believe something just because it's been around training circles for years. Steady state cardio is making a comeback. More and more people are using it to get lean and getting healthy, and it has its purpose in training.